Happy Wednesday, everybody. How are you doing? I think I may need to drop my camera just a little bit there. Yeah, there we go. That's much better. How are you doing? If it's your first time, I'm Dr. Tawana Carter. And if it's not your first time, you are welcome too. I am a career transition coach. And as a career coach, I work with stress busy women executives who are plagued by the imposter syndrome, self criticism, and doubt. I help them to alleviate their stress so they can find peace of mind and fully focus on excelling in their careers. So, if you've read the promo, you know that today I'm talking about the best way that women can break free of the tightrope bias in the workplace. And so let me turn on my comments to see my comments there. If you're hopping on, go ahead and drop where you're hopping on from in the comments. Let me know city, state, or country. I love knowing where everybody's hopping on from. And so if you do have questions, you do have comments, feel free to post those in the comments, and I will be sure that every so often I am taking a peek at my comment section over there, right? So I do want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. Some of you are seeing this on Facebook. You are welcome. Others are seeing this on Twitter or YouTube or LinkedIn. You're welcome as well. So I do want to get started, right? So let me know if you have heard some of these things in the workplace, either said about other women or maybe even said about you. She is just too bossy. That witch is too pushy and demanding. See, that's why I don't want to work for a woman. Hey, hey, Evita. Evita's from Atlanta. I will be there. Ooh, I'll be near there maybe this weekend. I'm trying to make it to Alabama this weekend. I have a friend that I want to visit in Atlanta, and I have nieces and nephews. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And is it Hannah Lore or Hannah Lore? I'm not sure if it's Lori on the ends. Let me know. She's in Minnesota. What's the weather like in Minnesota? Oh my gosh. I hadn't been to Minnesota in about, I guess, 6 years now. Wow, it's been that long. Well, ladies, welcome, 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 and thank you for hopping on. Right. So let me know if you've heard any of these things being said. Oh, that's why I don't want to work for a woman. I will never work for a woman. I hate working for a woman. Or ugh, she's an angry black woman. But on the flip side, you hear things like, oh, he's such a great leader. He's going places. Or have you heard of some women refer to, so Hannah Laura said it's cold. I could only imagine. So I'm coming on. I'm back in Maryland. I think last week it's been a long week. So yes, last week I was in Arizona. So I'm back in Maryland tonight. I may be in Alabama next week. So we'll see. We'll see. Right. So have you ever heard a woman like, she just, she pushy. I don't know how she got this job. She kind of borderline incompetent. I don't know. But you see the same traits in the man, and you hear go, oh, he's thoughtful, isn't he? Oh, he's intelligent. That's why he's kind of low key. He's intelligent, right? The thing is when women display what's known as masculine traits such as decisiveness and ambition, right? They're called bossy, and they're also, because I'm going to be polite here, they're known as witches riding in on their broomsticks. And so we all know what word rhymes with witches, right? But when men display the same exact traits, they're called great leaders. They have high potential. They take risks. They're going places. Okay. While, when women said, okay, I don't want to be too pushy and I don't want to be too forward. So they kind of defer to men and they take a step back, or they're a little bit quiet, right? They kind of thought of this pushovers, incompetent, don't know what they're doing. Again, meanwhile, men who have those same traits, thoughtful, intelligent, deep thinker, right? And so basically, what you're seeing is when women have these traits, they're negative. But when men have the same traits, they're thought of in positive terms. This is a tightrope bias that professional women walk at work. Forever trying to navigate in the workplace between not being seen as too masculine, but also not being seen as too feminine. Because a step in the wrong direction could mean not being liked, being ostracized, not getting a promotion, difficulty finding a sponsor, right? Or being perceived as just being difficult. She's difficult. She's picky. She's demanding, you know. She's overbearing. Oh my gosh, she's overbearing, you know. Or just incapable as a leader. None of which is fair, but that when we say tightrope bias, that's what we mean. You're consistently trying to walk that tightrope and balance, not going too far one way or going too far for in the other direction, right? And it can be very frustrating when you see men with the same exact behaviors who are groomed for career paths that lead for promotions. Meanwhile, you got to try to backtrack and try to ease it and smooth things over. So yeah, and I tell you, it's amazing, right? I remember sitting in a meeting where there was a male employee who was like literally banging his fist on the desk and yelling and screaming and tossing out all kind of f bombs and s bombs and everything else, right? All kinds of profanity laced words. The next thing I know, less than a year, this dude got promoted. It was a huge promotion. He's a leader. He's passionate, right? He's got initiative. He's got leadership potential. He gets stuff done. He's a mover and a shaker. Now, let one black woman or Latina or Asian or Indian sit in a meeting and start banging on the desk and yelling and screaming and streaming all this profanity laced dialogue. Do you know what would happen if they didn't call the police on her? Just saying, like, she's lost her mind. I think she's had some kind of mental break, right? Then there's like, she's so emotional. Oh my God, she's just emotional. Oh, just lack of emotional control. She's out of control. Do you believe what she did? Oh my God, that's unprofessional. She may be unhinged. Or the infamous, oh yeah, for black women, she's an angry black woman, right? You hear it all the time. Even white women try to do that in a meeting. Yell, scream, curse, throw things, stomp. It typically doesn't go well. So Evita said facts. Yeah, it does not go well for women. It doesn't often go well. And if you do that, that stuff will like follow you for years, if not the rest of your career. But this dude got promoted. He literally got promoted. I was like, he what? Oh yeah, he got promoted here. Oh, he's a leader, right? Again, that's why this is called the tightrope bias, and it can happen at any level. I remember when I was teaching, right, and it was straight up facts that football coaches use colorful words. We'll say that with football players. And it was like, get your lazy freaking fracking, you stupid dumb, freaking fracking, you dumb, get up and do it. They did, right? They just, those young men heard plenty of profanity, right? So we had a black female teacher that was a coach, and she was a track coach. And so she said, hey, ladies, let's go. And so the ladies kept sitting there looking. She says, all right, ladies, let's move your bootay and get going. She was called into the principal's office for inappropriate language. So the football coach literally is cussing the kids out. I mean, like, you can hear him across the field yelling profanities. Oh, he was being a good coach. And all she said was, ladies, get your bootay going. That was it. She was literally called into the principal's office for inappropriate language. You can't make this stuff up. Again, walking that tightrope, right? And here's the thing. In order to be competitive and to get ahead at work, women often need to adapt traits which are traditionally known as masculine traits. Ambitious, right? Taking the initiative, being direct, being decisive, speaking your mind. But when women do have all of these traits, They're seen as more masculine and they're not liked in the workplace. And sometimes they get blackballed for the same traits that are seen as leadership in men, they're seen as negative in women. Okay. And and I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Women are judged way harder when they have these traits than a man with the same behavior. She's got an attitude. And I've actually heard this said about me in the workplace. She just needs to get laid. And I've heard it said about coworkers. She just needs to get laid so she can calm down. I said it because that is what I've heard in workplaces about women who are direct, who are decisive, and who do take initiative and who have great leadership skills. It's always perceived as negative, right? So meanwhile, that's one end of the tightrope, right? Meanwhile, there's your other end, because women are expected to be feminine, right? Some people are like, oh, you need to talk a certain way, be a certain way, talk, be feminine. But then if they're too feminine, like they're expected to be, well, they're way more likable, but not really respected, right? And sometimes they're not even regarded as competent. And they're certainly not the leaders with potential who are being supported to get promoted to the top positions because they're too feminine. Nobody takes her seriously, right? And also, I'm not beating up on men here today because men and women have the same biased attitudes in the workplace. This is not men thinking this way. Men and women will think this way in the workplace. I've heard just as many women say, I don't ever want to work for a female boss, as I've heard men say that. So it's a biased attitude in the workplace that we have to walk. It's that tightrope that we walk, right? And here's, we talked about being light. Girls are socialized to be light. As we're growing up, we're socialized to be light. Boys, on the other hand, are socialized to take risks, to step out there, and basically, if it doesn't go right, you don't like it, if something happens, you fall and get hurt, just suck it up and keep it going, right? And so the thing is in the workplace, you do have a lot of women that it's just your nature to be nice. And just something that you have by nature to be nice is often used against you as bias in the workplace, right? Which it really isn't fair. It really isn't fair. Nice women at work get stuck with all the house duties in the office, like planning all the parties and all the baby showers and getting all the flowers and all the events that really no one else wants to do, right? And if you're not careful with that, if you're always doing it, you will get stuck with those duties while those around you get promoted and move on. And here's the thing, I know women that this is their passion. Planning and organizing is their passion. They enjoy it. They love to do it. So if that's you, it is very, very beneficial for you if you do that, to make sure that you are self promoting and getting the credit for it and translating it into skills that you can use to get promoted, or else you'll consistently be bypassed. Well, we don't really want her to go anywhere. She does all the stuff we really don't want to do, even if you like to do it. So just be careful with that, right? And so what happens is, women that are nice, right? Or if you are direct or if you're more decisive and you get that talking to, they pull you in the office, they get that talking to you. What a lot of women end up doing is they find themselves like toning it down, trying to be more, try to fit in more into, by adopting a more feminine role, right? Rather than being, direct and saying what you mean and stating facts, like asking questions instead of speaking directly, like playing down any awards that you get, oh, you did this really well. Oh, that was just nothing. Oh, I'm sure it was nothing. You end up playing small. And I know, because I did this in the workplace for a long time. You end up playing small, downplaying your education, downplaying your awards, downplaying your achievements. But when you downplay so much, you end up getting passed over for some dude that works, half as hard as you do, knows half as much as you do. That guy gets promoted. Meanwhile, you're over there downplaying yourself. Again, it is a tightrope to walk between not being seen as too, masculine and direct and not being seen as too feminine, right? And you'll see women asking for buy-in versus saying like, here's the facts, here's how this works, and this is what I see, and this is what I recommend. Nope, they kind of ask like, do you think we should do, or have you ever thought about? They're asking questions again, playing small in the workplace, swallowing anger, swallowing microaggressions to not appear to be angry. In the case of black women, to not be seen as an angry black woman in the office, right? And if you don't believe it, how many times have you been in a meeting, you've heard a woman told, calm down. My God, you're emotional. Calm down. You really need to calm down a little. Meanwhile, the guy is over there throwing angry tantrums, yelling, screaming, stomping, slamming doors. No one says to him, you need to calm down. Oh, he's just passionate. It gets difficult to walk that tightrope. And you don't always know if you're leaning too much one way and too much in the other way, right? And so here's the thing. I want to give you some tips of what to do to break face, because to break free. Because when you're toning things down and playing small, you're actually not being your authentic self. You're not being who you really are. And after a while, that causes issues, right? Causes self-esteem issues. It can cause self-confidence issues. It can raise doubt where you start questioning yourself about every single thing you do, right? And so here's some tips, 4 tips to help you break free of that tightrope, right? Number one is learn to say no. If you're the person that everybody comes to do the other stuff that nobody really wants to do, learn to say no, right? Just really learn to say no. It is okay to say no, right? Number two, understand that not everybody is ever going to like you. That was never going to happen in life. Not ever. Just no. Some people will not like you because you're nice. So it's the everybody liking me, it's not even possible. So work on spending less time trying to be liked, worried about who likes you and being liked, and worry about being confident and being direct when you need to, right? And then I'm gonna jump on down to number 4. Rather than worry about being nice and being too direct and too forward, learn to use humor. Okay, learn to use humor instead of putting yourself down, because when you're playing small, you put yourself down and you disregard all of your accomplishments, right? Humor actually softens directness. It can soften directness. It can soften that. Oh, she's always telling people what to do. It's like, well, she's a boss. She's supposed to, right? But humor is a way that I certainly, this is one of, I had to learn like really seriously learn uh, how to be humorous, right? But it does downplay directness. It does downplay that. So what people call masculine energy that women have. We're there to get stuff done. Humor will downplay that, right? And remember that laughter actually produces endorphins that make people feel good. So if you can get people to, introduce a little humor, a little levity, people will laugh, and naturally they will just feel good because they're producing those hormones, right? You don't have to be Betty White or anything like that. A little humor goes a long way, provided, of course, it is not offensive, right? Now I'm going to pop back up to number 3. Learn to be unapologetically you. Say that again. Unapologetically you. Do not apologize for every single thing, right? Catch yourself. If you're always going, hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to be late to the meeting. Oh, I'm sorry. You weren't late. You're on time, right? Sometimes as women, we apologize for everything. It is a way to take a step back, downplay, play it small, right? Pay attention to how many times you apologize, especially if you are saying no to people. Don't apologize for saying no. Just say no, right? Right. And instead of saying I apologize, say thank you for being patient. It's a better way to do that. Thank you for being patient as I XYZ, right? Because oftentimes what I hear women do is you're consistently apologizing for things that are not even your purview, they're not in your control, they're not even your fault, but you consistently apologize, and there's really no reason to do that. Learn to say thank you for being patient. I appreciate your patience instead of apologizing, right? So those are my 4 tips to break free of the tight rope, right? And so if you've heard this today and you really see yourself, you're like, I see me all into this, and I may have let this go too long in one direction or the other direction. It's either, blocking your ability to get promoted, or you just are now not feeling like you're confident enough to go for promotion. I do provide a 15-minute free career solution call. If you drop career in the comments, I will reach out to you, get you set up for that 15-minute call. We'll discuss your goals and where you are. I share with you what I do, and if I'm absolutely certain that I can help you, I'll tell you how to get started with the next steps. Okay? And so if this was helpful for you, do drop me comments. Also, I would love, if I touched on something that I didn't really expand upon today, drop it in the comments. I will come back and do a live on that as well. Those of you who catch this on the replay, thank you very much for that. And be sure that you head over to my YouTube channel, subscribe while you're there. Be sure to hit the button, right, so that you can get notification anytime I drop a live on there, or anytime I post a video, right? So you do want to be back next week when we have a special treat. The 4 biases that I talked about, Joan C. Williams wrote a book with her daughter, Rachel Dempsey, What Works for Women at Work. That's where the 4 biases came from. But there was some more research done, and they looked at the biases that women in STEM positions faced. So she came up with another bias that women face, particularly Black women and Latina women face isolation bias on the job, especially in those STEM roles. So that's what I'm covering next week. So be sure you're back here at the same time. I'm here every Wednesday at the same time on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Twitter. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. Thank you for hanging in there, and have a great evening or great morning or the great rest of your day. Bye bye.